Hi everyone, I'd like to share some quick thoughts on the Parsha this week, which is Parshas Noach. In the Parsha it says, Noach ish tzadik tamim haya b'dorasav es ha'elokim hisalech Noach. Noach was a righteous man, perfect in his generation. With God, Noach walked. So why the kind of repetition in this pasuk, right? We're saying on the one hand, he was a righteous man and perfect in his generation, and also that he walked with God. It's a little repetitive. Clearly, he walks with God if he's a righteous man in his generation. There's two things that we can learn out from this, seeming repetition. One is that he was perfect in his generation, literally when he was out and about interacting with the other members of his generation. He was meticulous in his bein adam lechavero. He was constantly aware of making a kiddush Hashem. He was constantly being a mensch and a tzaddik when he was interacting with others and when he was in public. The same way that he acted when he walked with God, meaning when he was only walking with God, when he was behind closed doors and the only person that was observing his behaviors and his actions was God himself. It's kind of part of the human condition, to be better at some parts of religion and to really connect to some mitzvos and be meticulous about them and excited and on fire connected to them. And there's other parts that we're not connected to. They come much more difficult to us. They're challenging for us. And we might kind of turn a blind eye to them or not be as meticulous. And as much as this is kind of what growth looks like, it's not linear, it's not a, straight trajectory. It does behoove us to try and achieve integration and achieve consistency the same way that Noach was transparent. He was consistent. He was the same person behind closed doors as he was in public. And as much as this is, almost natural human behavior, in its most extreme forms, it becomes very fractured. People seem so frum on the street and behind closed doors are doing whatever they're doing, or people who are extremely different in how they observe different parts of religion. And, honestly, this applies in general to life. With different terms, we might call that denial or cognitive dissonance. And especially from a therapy perspective, there's nothing more painful than people feeling fractured and different in different parts of their lives. And there's nothing better to achieve than the pleasure of feeling whole, right? Of feeling like an integrated person where your values and your behavior match up across the board. They say you don't have to remember, if you're telling the truth, you don't have to remember the story you gave. One other quick point in this parsha, which I really liked, is we know at the end of the flood, right? God put a rainbow outside to symbolize the fact that he would never punish humanity in that way. I feel like we get a lot of rainbows in Manhattan Beach. We've seen many of them. And the interesting thing about that is that rainbows are manifested with the same material that a flood, is made up of, which is water. So the same, item that God uses to, on the one hand, punish humanity, as it's rising up and evaporating into the air, light refracts through it, and the same substance now becomes a symbol of God's promise to us not to punish us in the same way. It's a symbol of, hope, cautious hope, and a reminder to do what's right. So for us, things that we struggle with and things that, do not come naturally to us, and maybe we are a little bit fractured in our observance or ourselves as people, the things that are, the most difficult things can become things that really symbolize something completely different and can symbolize connection and goodness and mitzvos. Have a wonderful Shabbos.